this is immigration attorney Michael Feltman, and this is Politics on Feltman Immigration. Thanks for watching. Today what we're going to talk about is the DREAM Act. It's all over the news. It's all over the talk with immigrants. It's all over the talk pretty much everywhere in Congress, and that's what the goal of is in politics is to talk about. Is we're going to talk about either a congressman or some proposed laws that are really affecting majority of our country. So today we're talking about the DREAM Act. If you don't know what the DREAM Act is, it's basically a law that says that, or a proposed law that is, it says if you came into the United States at a young age, we're going to give you lawful permanent residency if you can meet some certain other qualifications and not be disqualified for being basically a bad kid. That's the DREAM Act. It's been trying to be proposed since 2000. It keeps missing every year. I think that we've got the great momentum going on right now with the DACA transpiring since 2012. And if you are watching the news right now, today is Wednesday, January 10th. Last night, Tuesday, Judge Alsop out of a federal district court in California did announce that there was going to be an injunction on President Trump's phase out of DACA. So watch that real closely. I wouldn't recommend doing that yet. Stay in touch with us if you want to. Check us out on Facebook or Twitter, or watch another YouTube as well. As it stands right now, the DREAM Act is the biggest bill that's got the great amount of focus in Congress right now. There's a number of different other proposed laws, which we call bills in case you're not familiar with those terms. But right now what we got is the DREAM Act is being introduced in both the House and the Senate. The House of Representatives has got the most momentum at the point. It's called House Resolution 3440. If you want to Google it, it's HR 3440. You'll be able to see the actions that are taken on it right now. As of yesterday, we had 200 co-sponsors in that bill. Another one is the HOPE Act. It's House Resolution 3491. It's like DREAM Act, but it covers a few more individuals. Another one is the Recognizing American Children Act. You can call it RAC Act if you want to. That's what a number of people call it. It is House Resolution 7468. One other one that's in the Senate right now is 1852, called the Succeed Act. It is out there. It's not got much attention at this point. It's the most restrictive and, in my opinion, the most complicated of the bunch. Two side bills that have been going on as well. Started last year, House Resolution 60, which is the Enlist Act, which basically said if you enlist into the one of the armed forces, you can obtain lawful permanent residency, which is awesome. It had a whole lot of support on both Republican and Democrat sides. Another one is the Senate Bill 128, which is called the Bridge Act, which is basically a cushion for until DACA and DREAM Act, just as a way to try to make that transition a little bit easier. So if you're interested in looking at any of the DREAM Act or related bills, you can check them out. We put some links on our Facebook if you want to check that page out. DREAM Act, essentially what it's saying right now as far as the main requirements is you need to have been in the United States 4 years prior to the enactment of the law, assuming it happens, and hopefully it happens. Second requirement is you came to the United States before the age of 18. That's initially. Third is that you don't have any disqualifying criminal acts or other immigration certain violations. There's about 20, depending on how you want to look at it and divide up the bill. That's the way I looked at it, is roughly 20 different requirements that you needed to be able to overcome. It also, interestingly, had a section relating to a waiver if you did have some certain immigration violations. So basically they could kind of take into account everything that happened and then evaluate it themselves. Next is that looking at if you're locally, we met with U.S. Congressman Roger Marshall. He had some interesting things to say. We met with him last week. We were able to have the opportunity to meet with a small group, about 10 people. I, along with two of my awesome staff, Fernando and Frida, and we talked to him for about an hour, and we talked about the DREAM Act in particular. The general sentiment that he said was that it's not to create a deportation, because I explained to him, look, we've either got we either decide to grant it and push for it and vote it, or we say no in the alternative, and it's the alternative is if no status, then it's deportation risk. So he said that's generally not the sentiment. He said we were looking for a time frame, and of course there's a lot of factors that are involved in this, but he said, and we explained the DACA situation, the phase out, but there's a lot of people that are missing out right now because they couldn't renew in certain situations. And what he said was that January 19th was one date that he was we might be able to look for something happening. Along with that, do I think it's going to happen is the next question I would like to ask, and say that I think if there's 800,000 potential applicants, and even more maybe if under the DREAM Act, it looks like it's a little broader. So I think it will happen. I think that DACA threw in something that really finally is going to help us overcome the hill to make DREAM Act actually happen. One other reason is because the courts are backlogged. The immigration courts are super backlogged. It's not uncommon to see a case resolved in several years. So that's a problem in the immigration courts. Along with that is the humanitarian reasons, and that's what I wanted to cover today. If you're interested in one of the Hope Bill or some more requirements of the DREAM Act, let us know. Send us an email, like us on Facebook, or send me a tweet at Michael Feltman. Our Facebook is Feltman Law Firm. If you want to check us out again on YouTube, it's FeltmanImmigration. But last thing I'd say is I hope you're a praying person, but in the Bible it says to pray for our leaders, and it's just a clear requirement. It's in the book of Timothy. So look at that and pray about it, and hopefully we have something finally happen with the DREAM Act. Thanks for watching. Have a great week, and make sure you stay in the know.